Hello, you lovely lot. It's me, Jen, from After School Art Club. I hope you are well and enjoying lockdown the best you can. Now, normally I would be doing After School Art Club and we would work our way through lots of different topics, but instead I'm just going to record the lessons for you here. Hopefully give you a little bit of inspiration and mummies and daddies a little bit of respite so that you can do some work and maybe they can do some work as well. Or just have a bit of a rest or a coffee. So anyway, the first art club I normally do is elements of art. So I'm going to show you a few slides and a few boards, and then I'll show you a task that we can hopefully all do together. So first session of art club, I asked the children what they think art is. So art can be anything. So anyone have any ideas about what you think art is? So there's a slight clue with the board, obviously. So art can be anything. It can be anything you want it to be. So art can be painting. It can be a print. It can be a 3D image. It can be fabric painting. It can be a drawing. I think most of us think of art as being a drawing or a painting. Art can be a photograph. Art can be some sculpture. Art can be animation, or art can be just words. I mean, if you were to write a story, or if you were to act in a play, or if you were to have a dance to some music, I think that's about being creative and expressing yourself in quite an artistic way. So lots of artists draw what they see. So I think lots of us also, we like to copy things that we see. And also artists like to draw what they can imagine. So if they're thinking about their dreams or their thoughts, they think about what they're thinking about and then they'll draw some pictures. Artists also draw what they feel. So if they're feeling a bit sad, they might draw something because they're just feeling a bit sad, or if they're feeling a bit happy, they might draw something happy, maybe use some bright colours like yellows and greens maybe, or maybe if they're feeling a bit angry, they might use some reds or some darker colours or some warmer colours. Artists also draw what they remember. So sometimes if artists, or if you've had a dream and you're trying to think about what it was about, sometimes it's good just to sketch it down. And it might be something crazy. It might be something that doesn't make sense at all. But it can be a bit of art that you're exploring. So I like to think about the elements of art for my first lesson. So can anybody think of an element of art? Does anybody know what an element of art is? So an element is kind of like a piece of art, like a part of art. So in this case, I'm kind of thinking about drawing and painting. So an element can be line. So if you think about when we're putting pencil to paper or when we're mark making, line is just a mark made by a tool, and it can be a brush or a pen or a stick, and you can do different types of line. You can do like a thick line, you can do like a squiggly line, maybe you could do a swirly line or quite a zigzaggy line, and you could press quite hard or continuous, or maybe it could just be quite rough and quite quick. Another element of art is shape. So shapes are all around us every day. So a shape is like an enclosed area. So we all know shapes, right? So it would be a circle or a square. So it could be like they're geometric shapes. Or we could have like organic shapes. So they could be shapes that you're just kind of freehand doodling. And we can also think of form when we think of shapes. So we can think of a 3D shape. So something that we see that's three-dimensional, not something that's flat on the paper. So also an element of art is value. So value, if you think about it, it's the lightness of dark or darkness of a colour. So if you press really, really hard with a pencil, it kind of comes out like that. And then if you press lighter and lighter and lighter, the value changes. It goes from dark to light. And you can do the same with coloured pencils as well. This is like a really dark pink. And as I've lifted my pencil off lighter, it's become a rather light pink. So space is also an element of art. So space is used to create the depths of something, like a 3D like dimension. So if we think about pictures, sometimes something can be really close up in a picture. So I've drawn this little person here really close up in the picture, and then I've drawn someone kind of midway in the picture, and then somebody right at the back. So they've kind of, there's area and space. They're like at the foreground, middle ground and background of the picture. We can fill the space. So if you think of, if you're drawing on a piece of paper, you try to draw the whole piece of paper full of pictures, and then that way you would be filling the space. So if you were to draw something in the middle of the paper, that would be known as positive space, where the outsides and the rest of that space outside that shape would be called negative space. Now, another thing that you probably all know is colour. Colour is one of the most important of the elements in art. There is 3 different types of properties when it comes to colour, and that's hue, which means it's the name of the colour. And there's value, which is the shades and tints of the colour, and then intensity, which is the brightness of a colour. And so one of my lessons that I do, we look at the colour wheel, and we explore opposite colours, primary colours and secondary colours, and then we do lots of work on them. So maybe I'll do another lesson where we look at colours. So then another element of art is texture. So that's something that we're going to look at today, actually. So texture is where you're drawing something that kind of describes the feel or the look of the surface. So here I've done some examples. I've tried to draw kind of something that looks a bit like wood, and I'd say that one could be a bit spiky, I think. Maybe I've done a bit of fur or something. And then that one I've tried to do like some scales, like of a lizard. So in Art Club, this would be my second board that I'd show you, and then we talk about the different elements of art. And then normally what I would do is I would get the class to do a piece of work, which I'll talk about and show you in a minute, that you could do. But then around the class I have different aspects and different stations so that everybody can try out different things. So here I've just I've put down stages of how to try and draw different things. So whatever you want to learn, so how to maybe draw some bubble writing, which we will look at in a minute, how to draw animals, or how to draw a face. So they're like step-by-step guides. So maybe I'll come back to that. So if everybody's got a piece of paper and just a pencil and maybe some felt pens or some pencils and maybe a rubber, I'll show you what we can do. So what we're going to look at is using the elements of art. Can you write your name and then decorate the page? So I've written my name on a piece of paper using bubble writing, and then each letter I've coloured in thinking about a different element of art. So with this one I've thought about colour. This one, for example, I've thought about tone and shading, so I've pressed really dark with my pencil here and then I've made it lighter. Here I've kind of looked at colour and texture because I've mixed a couple of colours together. Here I've tried to make this like a furry N, and I've done lots of tiny little brush strokes to make that look quite furry. And then here I've looked at space, so I've done my eye in Jennifer, really small at the top and then really big at the bottom. And then here I've just used line, and again I've just used kind of pattern and colour, and again I've used colour for the last one. So if you want to do that on your piece of paper, what I'd recommend is to try and do bubble writing of your name first in pencil. So bubble writing can be a bit tricky. I'm going to show you a kind of cheat way as to how to do bubble writing. So I've got a whiteboard here, but imagine this is my piece of paper and imagine this is my pencil. So a good way to learn how to do bubble writing is if I was to write my name just like that, and then so imagine this is pencil, so then with my pencil I'm going to go around my name like this. So if I go around the edge carefully, looping it as I go and joining it up, and then if you have a rubber, basically you then rub out the middle bit of your original pencil work, and then that should leave some bubble writing. Now bubble writing you can do kind of different. I mean, I've done the edges of this with like round soft edges. You can do different types of styles of bubble writing, so I'm just going to fill in that air, and there we go. So once you've done your name in bubble writing, then you can, with your colours, you can start thinking about colouring in, but using the elements of art. So I might do this one quite spiky, a bit like a cactus maybe. And then, so if I continue doing that one, and then this one, wood is always quite a good texture to do. Wood is quite an effective bit of line making to do. If you just did, I'm thinking about texture with this element, lots of swirls, as if it was like the grains in the wood. The grains in wood seem to have like lots of kind of knobbly bits and lines. And then the last one, what shall I do? I might just look at line, and I might just fill this back up using the line of my pen or pencil. That's not great, but there we go. So if you were to do that on your piece of paper and then colour all the piece of paper in, that would be great. And it might give mummies and daddies 10 or 15 minutes just to do some work or have a coffee. So the next thing that I would do in my art class, once you've done that, so you can do that, this is just another idea, because I was doing some texture, is, hopefully you can see this, so what I did here was I drew around my hand. So if you get another piece of paper and you draw around your hand, I was looking at colouring each of my fingers using different bit of texture. So hopefully you can see this. So this one I did using like a wood effect. This one I thought about kind of bricks, so I was doing kind of block effect. Here I was thinking about the scales of a lizard, so I was making it quite bumpy and scaly. And then here I was doing the cactus, and then here I was making it furry and hairy again. So there are two ideas for what you can do based on my lesson to do with the elements of art. So hopefully you'll do that and you'll have some fun, and I will try to record a lesson each week. Maybe next week we'll look at pointillism. And as you can see, this is my little art shed. So over last lockdown, me and my 3 children did lots and lots of art. So I'm going to do some videos based on little arts and crafts that me and my kids did. And then I'm going to do some videos based on art club that I do after school. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed that, and I will record another video soon, and I'll see you soon. Bye.